Hello, welcome along to the LTR Language School YouTube channel with myself, Max, again. And today we're going to go through an app that we've been through before called Language Reactor, which you can see on my left-hand side here. Today we're going to focus on a new part of the Language Reactor app because they've recently been spending lots of time expanding their offering and what they provide. And there's a new tool they've released called PhrasePump. Now, they dropped us an email to tell us about this, so we thought, of course, as passionate language learners, that we would take a look and see what we thought. And surprise, surprise, we love it. So today, we want to show you what PhrasePump is, how you can use it, and why we think it's a great tool. So without wasting any more of your time, we're going to go straight into my computer and take a look. Let's go. Okay, so this is the languagereactor.com homepage on the website, which is seemingly ever evolving. They've always got new things going on. So as you can see, their original products here, Netflix and YouTube are the main things that they talk about. But they've got a number of other things that they're also expanding to, and as I've said, the one today we're going to focus on is PhrasePump, which was released, I believe, towards the back end of 2022, and it's almost Language Reactor's answer to SRS learning, so Spaced Repetition System Learning. Now, we talked about these kinds of programs before with the likes of Anki, Shanghainese and Scritter. It's a form of language learning that many of our team members like very much, and it seems like Language Reactor have cottoned onto that with PhrasePump here. So the great thing obviously with PhrasePump is that you can use multiple languages. So obviously with Scritter and Shanghainese, you're bound to one or two languages, in Scritter's case two, and Shanghainese is just the one. But with PhrasePump here, you can actually study multiple languages. You can see they've got a big list here of languages you can study. So my three I've got here are Mandarin Simplified, Italian and Japanese. But if I wanted to add another language, for example, it's very easy to do so. So let's say I wanted to start Korean. I can click add there, and what it does then, you get to see or choose your current vocabulary level very roughly. So you can look through the list, and if you understand the meanings of all the words in one section, then you could probably move on to the next section. I would probably recommend you to select the section where it starts to get a bit more difficult. If you'd rather review some old stuff, maybe undercook it a little bit, so maybe go back to the earlier stages, and you can get a example text on the right here, and it shows you the shown known words in green. So if I know 500 Korean words, all those words in green in the text I should already know. And likewise, if I go to 1500, I should know all those words there in green. And then if I'm particularly advanced, I should know most of the words in the text. But if I'm a beginner, then I may know 2 or 3 of the words in the text. And if I'm a complete beginner, you can start with I don't know any words yet. So you can set your vocabulary level, and then what it will do, it will select the words that you should be learning based on your current level. So if we go into my Italian here, so what we can do, we can click on Italian. So you can see I've already practiced 19 cards today, although I think going by the emoji, it's probably telling me I should be studying at least 50. And I can start practice.
È solo un consiglio.
So in this instance, it's blanked everything out, but just spoken to me. Now you can use these triggers at the bottom using your keyboard. So you can see we can reveal the sentence with E, and we can play it again if we didn't quite understand it first.
È solo un consiglio.
Okay, and then we can reveal the Italian, and then I can try and guess what it means. And then when I want to reveal it, I can just press E again. And if I got it right, great. If not, then I can note it down and move on to the next one.
Mi servirebbe qualche consiglio.
And then we reveal it, we try and guess it, and then we go again. And you can see at the top, I've completed 2 out of 20 cards here. So you can change this actually. So if we just go back out, you can actually go to settings, and you can change your session size from 20 all the way up to 100. I like to keep mine quite small because I like to focus a bit more. I sometimes actually write flashcards for some of these or on post-it notes so I can actually really learn them. And this is a method called sentence mining, which is quite popular among certain language learners, where you don't remember words but you remember sentences, and then by doing that you can start to understand sentence structure. So I quite like to do that and keep it to 20, which still can last a significant amount of time when of course you're writing everything out and trying to guess the meanings and whatnot. So I can go into my Chinese one as well.
入场费只需5元.
Now you can see the format's different here, so this time it's actually read it out immediately and shown me the word, so I've not had to guess it. What it will do later in the session, it will then test my listening ability. So it tends to flick between the two. I think from what I've discovered so far, it normally starts the lesson by showing you the text, and then later on you will practice your listening. And you can see that they're colour coded as well. So it's words that I probably don't know, words that I should know, and words that I definitely do know, going by the colour scheme. So here we're learning the word 需, which means to need or required. If I feel I know this already, I can hit the Z button and mark it as known.
调整是痛苦的.
And then it will move me onto a new word. So in this instance, 调整, which means adjust or adjustment. And then it will give you a sentence, it will break it down, show you the meanings of the words, and then the English. And if I feel that I know this word already, I can hit Z again. If I'm not hugely confident with it at the moment, I can click D.
生活就是关于调整的.
Move on to the next one, and then get a new sentence. So what it will do, PhrasePump, it will give you a number of sentences with the same word, so you can start seeing the word in different environments, so not just one sentence where you only use the word in one specific context. We want to see it in different contexts, so that's quite a good feature. If you want to go back and look at the previous sentence, you can just click A or the back button.
调整是痛苦的. 生活就是关于调整的. 你会如何建议我调整这个?
And then when I feel confident with it, I can click known. I wouldn't click this though until you're absolutely certain that you do know it.
我怕我的英文无人能理解.
And then it will move on to the next word and you go from there. So this is essentially how PhrasePump works. I'm not going to go into crazy amounts of detail because there's not a huge amount that you need to know so far. But what I do think is that it's a very good tool. SRS is a brilliant way to learn. And I also think that sentence mining is another brilliant way to learn as well. So with these two things in mind, I think this is a really cool addition to Language Reactor's armory here. So you can see they've got lots of things going on. If you've got any questions, they've got a forum that you can go into. It's very active. They've got posts, I think, most days of the week. So do go into there and check it out as well. But that, in a nutshell, is Language Reactor's new tool called PhrasePump. So there we have it. That's PhrasePump by Language Reactor. What do you think? Drop us a comment below and tell us what your thoughts are. Have you used PhrasePump yet? Or are you new to Language Reactor? Why don't you tell us if you have any questions? Do let us know. I'm sure there'll be members of the team at Language Reactor also watching in the background, so you can get your questions answered by any of their team members. They've also got a forum on their website, which you can see behind me at languagereactor.com. So Language Reactor has come a long way really. So when we first discovered this tool, I think back in, must have been about 2020 now, my colleague Maureen actually discovered it, and at that time it was called Language Learning with Netflix. And now they've got a host of new features. So they've rebranded because they've gone away from Netflix, or they're doing other things aside from Netflix, such as on YouTube. They've got this PhrasePump. They've got tons of other things as well that you can do on their website. And their expansion in the last 2 to 3 years has been really impressive, and it remains one of our favourite online tools. So I highly recommend you go and check it out. Also have a look at the forum and you can see what other people use it for. They also answer a lot of frequently asked questions on there as well. So go and check it out. And before I go, of course, it would be very silly of me not to mention our very own fantastic online tool that we created at LTL also back in 2020 called Flexi Classes. That's right behind me on the smaller screen here. So with LTL Flexi Classes now, you can study 10 different languages and you can get a 7-day free trial. So there's no strings attached here. So you can come along, check it out. You'll get 3 free lessons in your 7 days. You can study whatever language you want. So you can study Mandarin or Japanese or Korean or even all 3. You can use one lesson for all 3. And that's one of the great things about Flexi Classes is that when you sign up to a subscription or a package, you can study whatever languages you want. So take myself personally, I'm studying Mandarin, Japanese and Italian, all using Flexi Classes, and you don't need to purchase a subscription for each one. Everything is in one package. You can also download all of your classes before they begin. So actually when you become a Flexi Classes member, you have access to every single PDF on every language. So you can actually study the material like I do before the lessons. So give yourself some time before to get familiar with the language. And this is something that lots of people have commented on that they quite like, because sometimes it can be quite scary going into an online class and not knowing what's ahead of you. But with Flexi Classes, you know straight away what's coming up. So combine Language Reactor's PhrasePump and all their other tools with Flexi Classes, and you've got a fantastic way to learn languages online, aside from all the other things. And of course, if you want to learn languages in person, particularly Mandarin, Japanese, Korean and Vietnamese, come and join us in Asia, because all of the borders are finally open and we can't wait to welcome you. Thanks for watching today's video. Have a nice day. Bye bye.